A truck driver will have had an oopsie and they'll bring it to me and they're like, oh no, can you fix this? And I'm like, yeah, no problem.
Keeping the city on the move is a complex job. Meet some of the fleet mechanics who make it happen.
Welcome to my office.
Some of those mechanics work far outside Seattle to help to provide a valuable resource.
We can't provide the drinking water for the residents if we don't have the tools to do so.
Tomatoes are starting to look ready.
Oh, yeah. Reconnecting people to the land. The Black Farmers Collective grows healthy food for people in need.
That's what I've been told.
These stories and more next on CityStream. This is the giant UW parking lot north of Husky Stadium. It has about 2,700 parking spots. That's a lot. But you'd need 1,300 more to park the city of Seattle's entire vehicle fleet. Hello, I'm Enrique Cerna. It's a huge job keeping a city like Seattle running. Maintaining a fleet of 4,000 vehicles is a lot of work. Michael Crow shows us the team that does it and how they're trying to help the environment at the same time.
The work of Michelle Peterson's hands is everywhere you look out on the streets of Seattle.
Yep.
As a metal fabricator with the city's fleet maintenance team, she's one of the dozens of people that keep more than 4,000 city vehicles on the road. Everything from EVs to dump trucks, and today,
And I'll cut these corners off.
she's working on a siren computer housing.
I'm building a little cover that has vent holes in it. Custom work from a paper napkin drawing, so to speak, to real life, back into a fire truck.
It's rewarding work, something new every day. She takes overlap from several trades, welding, fabricating, repairs, and does a lot of problem solving.
And this is why I love my job, is because I rarely have the luxury of getting bored.
Everything breaks eventually, from chain skirts for breaker heads, backhoe buckets, new bumpers. It leads to some funny moments and a special connection to this city.
I was up at Magnuson Park and I saw a backhoe going down the road, and I pointed out to my husband, I said, that's one of my backhoes. It's got the hooks on it that I welded on.
The fleets team plays an important role in not just keeping city staff mobile, but also greening the impact of these vehicles on the planet.
And we touch every city department, yeah.
Chris Wiley is fleet director for the city and says they burn more than 2 million gallons of fuel a year, enough to fill a 15-gallon tank more than 133,000 times. The goal is to get carbon emissions down from a 2013 peak of about 29,000 tons a year to 15,000 in 2025 and eventually zero.
Yeah, we have pretty aggressive green fleet initiatives. We're trying to turn over the unleaded fleet by 2030 to all electric. We're also trying to go to a fossil fuel free fleet by 2030 as well. We've actually just implemented renewable diesel for all of our diesel vehicles, so we've actually achieved that goal for the diesel fleet.
Renewable diesel comes from fats like soybean or canola oil. But the electrification of vehicles has them really excited, though it requires they adapt, training staff for new power systems and components. At the same time, it was already tough to find qualified folks to do these jobs. But the work has always been changing, ever since the South Charles Street facility opened decades ago.
Skilled trades are kind of that way universally, so we've been really working hard to keep a full and productive staff.
Training.
All right, I've got to get you a connector, which is under a strap.
Was very important to Carolyn Arnold. She's a mechanic with the fleets team, mostly working on Seattle City Light trucks. Today, she's underneath one, trying to diagnose an issue with the 75-foot bucket arm.
To see if we're getting power from the button to the emergency pump. And we are not. So we got to go farther down the line. Boy.
Don't mind the grumbling. It comes with the territory, and she likes this work a lot.
Sometimes it's challenging, And sometimes it's meditative, depending on what part you're doing. B2.
She learned how to service bigger machinery like this in her time with the city of Seattle and loves the feeling of giving back to her community.
So a little bit of everything, and honestly, I really like the people I work with. You know, they make it enjoyable to come in every day. My husband will even bring me like pictures or clips from the news and be like, "Is that one of your babies?" I'm like, "That's one of my babies."
Much like Michelle,
And this is all stuff that just keeps the city humming along.
who loves this job just as much as when she started here.
See the pillar right there?
31 years in the same shop bay. She keeps this picture here to remind her.
It's immensely meaningful. Like, the most satisfaction I get is when somebody else's day is better. When somebody says thank you, or I see the smile, or a truck driver will have had an oopsie and they'll bring it to me and they're like, "Oh no, can you fix this?" And I'm like, "Yeah, no problem. Come back tomorrow." And they're just like, "Oh my gosh, you know, it's okay. Everything's okay."
You just saw how the fleets team keeps the city of Seattle rolling. But did you know they also play a key role in keeping our water flowing? Up at the Cedar River Watershed, mechanics work on all kinds of equipment in all conditions so that the Seattle Public Utility crews can deliver a vital resource. Producer Ian DeVere takes a look.
My favorite part of the job is coming to work. I'm the first one here in the morning. And it's very serene, very peaceful.
Welcome to my office.
That's the best part of the job.
My name's Al Drake. I'm a senior automotive mechanic for fleets. And I'm stationed in the Watersheds.
My name is Juan Garcia. I'm the fleets mechanic at the Watershed. We're going to be heading up to the 211 road. And we're going to be working on a brush cutter. We made it. What we do as mechanics is really important for the community. The reservoirs up here and the lakes and everything, we're the main supplier for Seattle.
So if you live in Seattle and drink water, good chance it's from right here.
Their role really in keeping all the equipment running is we can't provide the drinking water for the residents if we don't have the tools to do so.
Take a look at all the blades and make sure they're all good. If not, we'll replace them and the bearings. We'll need at least 7 to start. It's right up my alley with what I like doing, which is repairing on the go.
I pride myself on getting a machine back the same day. If they blow a hose, pull it, go get it made, get back, get them back working. The hydraulic quick coupler has failed and is starting to separate and leaking oil. Being out here, we want to do it as quick as we can, as clean as we can.
We have to use environmentally friendly oils and lubricants and greases because we don't want any of that stuff to get into the water supply.
No mess, nice and clean.
We have to think strategically before we do a lot of our stuff. And at the same time, we have to do it in a way where it's safe for the operator, safe for the operation.
For over 300 pieces of equipment, you get to know what they're using, when they're using it.
Yeah, it's a massive body of work for 2 individuals to take care of.
From remote mowers to John Deere tractors, Cat excavators, Cat backhoes.
F-Series trucks, F-150 on up, Ford Rangers, big dump trucks. We have boats, skiffs.
A ton of different trailers, air compressors, light towers. Yeah, it's a pretty long list of varied equipment we take care of. There's over 900 miles of road in Cedar Falls. There's, I'm not sure how many here, but probably several hundred here. And then just all the road miles to get back and forth. We're out on forest roads all the time. And then we go off-road quite a bit to get to where the equipment is.
You just never know what you're gonna get into because it's all unique. Yeah, so we really gotta think about safety. I don't know if you noticed, but my head's on a swivel. It's looking where I'm at, where we're going, and I'm looking up on top of the trees, make sure no trees are falling.
You need to know what's around you, because you don't know what's coming out of those woods.
I've seen coyotes, elk, deer.
Oh yeah. We get bear, cougar.
I think the biggest bear I've seen probably standing about this high. Yeah, snakes.
You name it, we get it out here all the time.
One of the biggest challenges is probably the weather.
There's 4 distinct seasons and they each got their own hazard.
In my truck right now, I've got rain gear, I've got cold weather gear. Going up there, I have to be aware of how hot it is because something that I may be working on could cause a fire. And that's all related to temperature. So I have to be very diligent about what I do, how I do it. I'm able to do quite a bit out of the one truck.
My truck is my toolbox. Actually, that's my toolbox, but I haven't used it in about 10 years.
So I was actually fabricating a bolt on the fly and measured it, cut it, and used it for the application that it was intended to. Al and I are kind of mentors and trainers on some of these young guys that are coming in.
The general scope of what they did, it didn't really occur to me until I got here. He showed me things that I just wasn't aware of, between whisker switches, hydraulic systems, just fixing random things that happen on the fly. I've been learning that a lot.
What are we having for lunch? Oh, that looks good.
Al, myself, and other mechanics who are seasoned, we're leaving an industry and we're passing it off to the next generation. When the operator can get on that machine and start doing what it needs to do, you see it instantly as soon as you repair it, you fix it. I love it. I'll let the operator know we're done if he doesn't have anything else for us, and we're done.
Who's going to show up and do it and be happy to help and be proactive and want to do the job? And that's how I feel that with Al and with Juan, is that they're invaluable.
I take great pride in my work. I'm very proud of my work. No more late. It gives me a lot of satisfaction.
As you just saw, the work done by the City of Seattle Fleet Mechanics helps to keep the water running. If you'd like to learn more about this vital natural resource, visit the Cedar River Watershed Education Center in North Bend. It's open year-round. Next on CityStream, the Black Farmers Collective interconnects the environment with community. But what they grow is much more than just food. Across town, perched high above the din of I-5 traffic, you might be surprised to find a little oasis known as Yes Farm. This 1.5-acre gem is home to the Black Farmers Collective, a dedicated group of urban food activists. Since 2018, they've been growing healthy food and getting it to people who need it, while teaching their community about sustainable urban farming. All this is helping the collective fulfill its mission of building a black-led food system that reconnects people to the land. Producers Kathy Toohey and Valerie Vaza have the story.
You know, when I go down to Yes Farm early in the morning, I do feel a little sense of calm, right? You move from the bustle of the city to a real farm space, so it is a calming place to go. We actually started Black Farmers Collective in a response to an opportunity to farm the freeway right-of-way in central Seattle. Yesser Terrace was being redeveloped by Seattle Housing Authority, and we put together a proposal to create an urban farm and then started the project. I've always enjoyed growing plants And after a career as a science teacher, I was looking at health disparities in Black and POC communities. So I felt that growing a little of your own food was one of the best things you can do for yourself. So I started to try to support urban farming. We started with small plots, and then with community help and help with lots of other organizations, we partnered together to be able to build the farm that exists today. This includes a greenhouse. We've got an area to grow crops that we put out into the food system.
This whole area is our community garden plot, and we give spaces for members of the community to come down and grow the food that they want to grow for themselves and their families.
The last 3 years, I've been coming up and planting my garden and praying over my garden and watching it grow. That's what I've been doing.
One of our local connections is Seattle University, and so over the years we've invited classes down there to be able to plant and connect with community and really learn about the local food system. We certainly want to raise the capacity of Black people, especially young people, in order to be part of that food system and to create that culture there.
Hey, here we are, about to start some science. Today we have, one of our opportunities we like to offer youth, and so ACE's program is bringing some middle school youth to the farm today as part of their summer program. After you cook and eat, you compost the food, right? We talk about that.
Can you take this rake and you see all the brown leaves on the floor? Just make them into a pile.
And we're going to work on harvesting, I think, today. And maybe if we have time, they can spread some of the milfoil around some of the tomatoes.
This plant, you could tell, has a lot of aphids on it.
Farming's a lot of work, and so we really depend on our managers.
This is my third season farming. I'm a recipient of Ray's dream here, which is to bring up Black leadership, and so that's why Ray's been a great mentor, because that's what it's been. Got it. Excellent.
We look at it as not just growing food, but being part of the distribution system.
We can just pick off this one right here.
Okay.
We sell it to organizations that are going to give it away. So we have a lot of connections with hunger relief organizations to get fresh food into the system. One of the things we like to do is teach folks about the contributions of African Americans to the food system in general. Black labor and genius really helped build this country. Folks were stolen from Africa because they knew how to grow food. Post-Civil War, Black folks still were able to work and buy land and have a lot of farms in the United States. But over the course of the last 100 years, there's been a real loss of Black farm ownership. We certainly want to start to reclaim some of that farmland. And we were able to lease these 4 acres Small Axe Farm in Redmond.
Been here for 4 years and started the farm really. It was just a field of weeds before that.
I was very lucky to meet Masra, our farm manager here. He's grown up with the farm in terms of managing the space. Small Axe Farm is about farm production, but it's also about supporting other farmers. So we have 5 guest farmers here that are either learning how to farm, expanding their operation, or growing small businesses.
Well, I've been here for 2 years. My business is Urban Farm. We grow herbs and hot peppers. They're not ripe yet. They're just starting to ripen. We make seasonings and hot sauce. We sell at Pike Place Market year-round to tourists from all around the world. I've been in 3 lease spaces. This is the 3rd. By far the most support, most structure and potential for good yield, as they say.
Well, we really appreciate you, being out here and supporting this, by sharing your wealth here. So it's great.
My pleasure.
Yeah.
Yes, it's been a great experience so far.
Our hopes for the future are to reverse the trend of Black land loss, to be able to be in a position to buy land, acquire land, create more and more farmland, and support local farming.
If this inspires you to roll up your sleeves and get your hands in the dirt, Yes Farm invites volunteers to the farm most Saturdays. For more information, just go to blackfarmerscollective.com. Talk about determination. For decades, UW women rowers strived for excellence. See how they achieved it as CityStream continues. In the recent Paris Olympics, University of Washington alumni fared well in rowing events. It's a legacy that dates to the 1936 Olympics when UW rowers won gold. Their story was immortalized in the book and movie The Boys in the Boat. Since then, women rowers at the UW have also reached the pinnacle of success. And as producers Kathy Toohey and Valerie Vaza explain, at times they had to rock the boat to do it.
It's early morning at the University of Washington. The sun has just cracked the horizon. The lake is calm and still. But the Conabear Shell House is buzzing.
Water's beautiful. Coxswains, we're gonna go to the Space Needle. Go straight through the cut.
And for the Husky women's crew, it's time to get to work.
I said just go nice and slow.
The shells cut through the lake with ease, but it takes hard work to make it look so effortless.
Separate and flow. Yes, nice.
Guiding the team through today's workout is head coach Yasmin Farouk, or Yaz as she's called.
The core is connecting your hand to the blade.
She's laser focused, analyzing every stroke as they progress through the practice.
This is my 8th year at Washington. I was at Stanford for 10 years before that, and I was on the U.S. team for 8 years.
She was also a 2-time Olympian.
Rowing's a power endurance sport.
Keep your body level,
So we have to train a lot of systems, and that's why we literally train all year round. So there's certainly the aerobic capacity is important, and you train that by doing a lot of what we call steady state or low intensity miles. Then there's also power, which you need to get off the line and to be able to sprint. So we do a lot of lifting. We lift 2 to 3 times a week, depending on the time of year.
And then there are the intangibles.
It's the people, and it is what they are willing to do for one another. The character that they have, like that transcends everything else. That's the most important.
The unwavering determination of today's teams can be traced back to the early pioneers of the sport.
The history of the University of Washington women's program is exceptional. It's always been defined by these women that were breaking barriers, that were carving new paths. And that's what they were doing. They were coming down to row.
The first documented report of women's rowing at Washington was in 1903. But it didn't really take off until Hiram Conabear was hired as the coach in 1906.
Hiram Conabear is the classic founder. He's our founder. Even though we had started rowing before he arrived, he is the founder of Washington Rowing.
Conabear was a huge advocate for women's rowing and wanted women to train just as vigorously as the men and to compete. College administrators, however, disagreed. They thought a beauty contest with matching outfits and graceful sculling was more ladylike.
And Hiram Conabear each time pushed back at the University of Washington. He would not be stopped. He just would not be stopped.
Conditions for the women were dreadful. Their boat shed was cold, leaky, and had no bathroom. They had to trudge through muddy trails at 6 a.m. to get to the men's boathouse to borrow their boats. And they were forbidden to race, but secretly,
they'd go around the corner and go full power, for sure.
Over the next decade, 3 influential women coaches continued Conabert's work, growing the program into the most popular athletic activity for women on campus. Then, in 1917, the program abruptly ended.
It was Hiram Conabert dying, so right there, they lost their #1 advocate. It was World War I starting, so suddenly campus was radically changed. The boathouse was closed.
And women's rowing disappeared for 5 decades. It wasn't until 1968 that rowing returned to campus as a club sport. And again, they put up with inadequate funding, hand-me-down equipment, and harassment from the male rowers.
The 70s were marked by this transition that was created by Title IX. And so they went from being a club sport to a varsity sport.
Conditions improved, but not without strong advocates like athletic administrator Kit Green. Under her guidance, women's sports flourished and the rowing program took off.
Because in 1980, Bob Ernst gets hired as the head coach, and the women became incredibly competitive. And they won the national championship in 1981, and of course then won the national championship in 82, and in 83, and in 84, and in 85. So 5 national championships in a row. It's never been done since.
Another gifted coach followed Ernst. Jan Harville, former Washington rower and women's assistant coach, took over as head coach in 1987. She led the Huskies to 11 Pac-10 championships, 3 NCAA championships, and was Coach of the Year 9 times before retiring in 2003. For the next 13 years, the Husky women continued to perform at the highest level, adding more accolades to the team's storied history.
All of those chapters of this history are why we have what we have today. We wouldn't be who we are if it wasn't for those women. And everybody on this team knows that, and they appreciate it.
When Yaz came on board in 2016, she inherited a team that was highly motivated. So motivated that in 2017, they became the first school in NCAA history to sweep all 3 final races and claim the NCAA title. Then in 2019, the team was poised to sweep their way to the NCAA title again. And nothing sums up the tenacity and grit of the Husky women, present and past, like the epic Varsity 8 comeback race from last to first.
Washington now is in 6th. We're coming into the last 500, and guess what? We got speed! Here comes Washington now moving through Cal. Margins are getting tight. Jump! Jump! Yeah! Last time! Thanks! Thanks! We got it! We got it! Final time of 6:07.2. University of Washington.
And for everybody back home, we are national champions!
Wow, what a story. Well, that's all for this edition of CityStream near the University of Washington. If you'd like to see more outstanding Seattle Channel programs, go to our website, seattlechannel.org, and search for feature shows. I'm Enrique Cerna. Thanks for watching.